My OBS crashed. Oh, I don't know if you guys can hear me. You may have another... Yeah. Alright, guys. Sorry about that. We have a new link. Okay. You can hear me so great. Yeah, it's a new link. My OBS crashed, guys. I apologize. You guys can hear me and I can see chat, but I'm not going to be able to chat. I don't think. I don't think it's going to let me. I don't know what's going on with OBS. It didn't have an update, but it just tanked. All I did was try to change screens. I'm going to try it again. Hopefully we'll be okay. Hey, Susan. Sorry about that, guys. So I have no chat, but you guys can hear me, so that's all that's important. Okay, as long as you guys can hear me. Can you guys see the Design Space screen? Because with my YouTube out and the chat out, it's not going to show me what you guys can see. You see it now? Great. Awesome. You guys let me know if I'm talking about something you can't see, because I can't see what you see. Thank you, Susan. Yay. Okay, so how do we create something like this in Design Space? The first thing that you want to do, and I'm just going to slide this kind of down out of the way. It'll be there if we need it, but we're going to start like we're playing from scratch here, okay? And one of the things that I was going to say before we lost OBS was, when you're doing this, guys, when you're doing a scrapbook layout, you can use your 80-pound cardstock, your papers, things like that, your 65-pound papers. You can use all of that. If you're doing a frame, you can still do that, but you want to make sure that you have enough clearance with your glass and everything to do that. And if you have one of the thicker, more professional frames, then you can use your photo mats. And they sell them in colors, and yes, your Cricut will cut them. They may be a little difficult to cut. It's more like cutting chipboard, but you can cut the mat board from your frame departments at Michael's and Hobby Lobby and Joann's, all that kind of stuff. So you can cut those, but make sure that if you're going to be using those mat boards, you buy the colors that you want and you stack them up and you check that thickness, and then you buy your frame, so that you know what size to cut, because all frames are going to be different. If you have a 9x10 frame where the thickness will fit, then you're going to be limited in the size you cut of these for that. Now, if you're doing scrapbook pages, you can use your 12x12 papers and you'll be fine. You're just going to use the 12x12 format here, okay? Or 11.5 by 11.5, because that's the max you're going to be able to cut for a scrapbook page using your Cricut. Your base page can be a 12x12 where you don't cut it. So just so you know that. All right, so how did I do this? Like I said, I did it in Shortcuts a lot, but I'm going to do it here using some images that we can get by with because we don't have the offset tool. Most of you should have 6.3.90 by now. If you don't, it's coming. I did an update video yesterday, and what has changed is your line type up here. It is now called Operation. Okay, And in the top three are your cut lines. These are your tools that do actual cutting, that will cut your materials. The perforate won't cut it in two, but it does cut into the material. All of these cut. These down here draw or foil or score, deboss, engrave. They don't actually cut through the material. And then your print and cut has been moved down here. It used to be up here beside line type. It is now down here. When you click on standard, then you're going to go in here and change it to color or to pattern, whichever you prefer. Everything else from there is the same. Okay? It did feel to me like it loaded a little bit faster with patterns. Not sure if that was a fluke, but it felt that way. So just so that you know, I don't want anybody getting confused saying, what are you talking about, operation? But we're changing from line type to operation. Hey, Marcia. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my square, or like we talked about before, I'm going to hit the number 1 and get my squares. And I'm just going to get 1 for now. And I'm going to change this. I'm going to say that my frame is an 11 by 14 because with the material we can cut up to 23 inches long. And 11 by 14 is a common size. So I'm going to change this, and hopefully I'm not having a sizing issue. 11 by 14. And that is going to be my back base layer. And I'm just going to shrink it down, guys, so that we can see the whole thing. But now we have an 11 by 14 piece. That is my very back piece. Then I'm going to duplicate it. And that back layer back there, I've got it so that it pops up as a white layer. So I'm going to change that one to white. I'm going to duplicate it again. And my next layer, I had pink. I'm just going to make this one blue so that we can see the difference between the two. And then I'm going to duplicate it again because as you can see here, we have another white frame. So when you're looking at these and you're seeing some layouts on Pinterest and things like that that you like, you just need to have the right amount of layers, okay? And then we're going to duplicate it, and my top piece is going to be a lighter gray. So I'm just going to come in here and get that light gray. So now I have all of my layers. I am going to align them and center. Now you can't see them, but you can see them over here in the layers panel, okay? You're not going to be able to see them until then. You're going to lay this out by your top layer first, but you've got to change your sizes as you go down. So it's as you go further down in the mats, it gets smaller. So it's easier to start with your top layer, because if you start with the bottom layer and you get to the top and it doesn't fit, you got to start all over. So start with your top layers and work your way down to that back dark gray layer. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and get a shape. And this is generally a photo shape. Now these here, the paws, those are just decorative because you're very rarely going to get a picture that's going to show up through that. Okay? Hey, Vicki. You're very, very rare that that's going to happen. And the most common photo size is a 4 by 6. So I'm going to make this a 4 by 6. It says 6 inches wide, 4 inches deep. Huh? So I've got my 6 by 4, and I'm going to lock it. And even though that's the common size, why am I cutting it that size if that's going to be the size of the photo? Remember I said when you start cutting those other layers, they get smaller. That smaller layer, your photo is going to be behind that last layer on top of that dark gray layer. So your photo is a 4 by 6. So we want that top layer to be that 4 by 6, and then we're going to work down, and those smaller layers are going to hold your photo in the frame place. Okay? So they will cover up the edge of the photo, but just a little tiny bit of the edge so that you get the maximum exposure on your photo. Am I making sense? If it doesn't make sense, guys, you just stop me and let me know. So I'm not going to line anything up. I just know that I want that. And then I'm going to duplicate it. And some people like to do collar pieces. So if you have like a dog collar, if this is a memorial, if it's not a memorial, then you can use this as the nameplate and put their name in there, okay? But if it's a memorial, then you have space for a collar. You want to leave enough edge for your frame, so you're going to give it a little bit smaller. So I kind of judge it, and I just happen to hit on it. It's 9.5 inches wide, and I'm going to make that at least 2 inches tall. Okay, you want to kind of even that out. So if it's for a collar, you want to give it room. I believe my collar for my dogs is like 1.5 inches, but I have large dogs. So if you have a smaller dog, go with 1.5 inches. Take that down to 1.5. Oops, by 9.5. So there you go. So we're going to call that our collar placement, and we're just going to slide it down right here. And then we want another photo frame, but we want to kind of make that more decorative. We want to jazz it up a little bit. So we'll go and we'll look for some shapes on that. Right now we're doing our basics. So now we're going to do some 3 smaller photo places down here at the bottom. So I'm going to go and I'm going to get a shape, get my square, and I'm just going to duplicate that. That's 3.11. That's what it comes in at. And it's probably going to be just about right. I might have to make them a little smaller. Oh, that looks pretty good. If you want a little more space in there, I think I do. So let's take these down to 2.75. We'll do 2.75 on those. So I'm just going to duplicate it. I'm going to bring one out to that side, one out to this side, and one over here. I'm going to align top, and then we're going to align and distribute them horizontally. Remember that distribute horizontally gives them the exact amount of space in between each other. Now I'm going to go ahead and weld those. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. I know it's 2.75. So I'm going to go ahead and weld those. And if I look up there, it's 9.431. So that's not quite what I want. So I'm going to undo it. I don't want them welded when I do this step. Is it going to let me undo? There we go. So I'm going to pick my collar up here, and I'm going to line to the right. I'm going to select that first one. I'm going to align to the left. And now I'm going to select those 3. Align, top, and distribute horizontally. Now they're right. And if I look with them all selected, it's 9.5 wide, which is the same as my collar placement. And that's what you're looking for. So now I'm just going to weld those 3 so that I have those in place. That's one line. Here's another line. And now we're going to go and get some decorative pieces. You didn't get your notification, Paula? OBS did crash now, so there could be a problem with YouTube. My YouTube is not even up. I can't tell what you guys can see. I don't know if it's YouTube, if it's OBS, or if it's me. So, all right, so now let's go and take a look at some images. And I'm just going to type in the word paw. And we have some paws here, but what we're looking for are layers. We need multi-layers in order for this to work because we don't have the offset. And this one has 2. The ultimate is to find something. That's cute. We'll get that just in case. The object is to find something that has at least 3 layers. I don't know if there are any in Design Space. There might be some pay for ones down here. So because we don't have those, and this is why I designed it outside of Design Space, we're going to work with basic shapes. Let's see. It's 2. All of these are, most all of these are going to be 2. It's going to be rare that you find 3-layer images. I wish we had another drop down here that had 2, 3, 4, etc., but we don't. So we're just going to go and we're going to make our shape. Someone cancel that. I don't like any of those. We're just going to cancel it. We're going to make our own shape. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get a square and a circle. Oops, don't want to do that. And we know that they both come in at 3.11. So just trying to get that lined up. Mine doesn't look right. There we go. Align, and I'm going to center that horizontally, and then I'm going to duplicate. Bring that one in as well. There we go. And then I'm going to weld. And I'm just going to unlock it and kind of skew it just a little bit. And that looks pretty good. So now I've got, well, I can't go by that one anyway because that's a different size. So I'm just going to duplicate it. And that's going to be my maximum size for that. So now I have those. I am going to duplicate that and hide it because it's a shape that I made. You'll need to do that. Since we don't have our offset or inset, I should say. And now we can make this shape basically, but there's probably a tag in there. Let's try it. Not a tag, a label. Label is what I meant. So this is cute. That would work. I would do a bone, but it won't layer out right. Oh, this is good. This one might work. I don't know if it's multi-layer or not. We're just going to grab a couple of shapes and see. We're going to insert it. And now you can always do like just a top layer, just one slice, and then have it show up as the color below. You don't have to have all those layers if you don't want them. Let's ungroup. We may have gotten a little bit lucky here. Let's get rid of that. Let's contour that one and hide all contours. One, that's the same shape as that. We only have 2 layers. Well, it is what it is. That's what we're going to go with. You guys will get the gist of it anyway. I can do it with 2 layers. So you're going to get this one and then you're going to size it up. And when I unlock it, it kind of changed the shape of it. You saw that. And I want that largest piece. I'm just going to keep that for the next one. So now I want to align this one. That's looking pretty good actually right there. So I am going to take this one, and this one, and align left. And then I'm going to select this one, and this one, and align right. Oops, the bottom's shifted, so got to make sure you pull these in past the one that you want to do. Align left, align right. There we go. You want these pieces to move, not your base piece. So I'm going to select these two, and then we're going to line them vertically and weld. And now we're going to select that center one. And we want it to be the same height. You can see that it's not. These are 2.74, may as well say 2.75, but we're just going to 274 for it. And here we go with that funny sizing. I don't know why this is not happening to anybody but me. It's not going to allow me to size it. You'll want to size yours to the same height as these. Maybe. I mean, if you don't want it, if you want it to be offset, you can do that too. Doesn't matter. It's your frame. So I'm going to select them all, and I'm going to align and center those vertically. And then, but before I do, I want to duplicate. I did right there. Okay. Got them. You want to make sure that you duplicate it. So now we're going to weld those pieces. You can always contour and get your shape back too. So now I'm selecting all of these bottom pieces. I'm going to align center horizontally, and then I am going to distribute them vertically. And that's going to give me the exact amount of space here and here. And then I'm going to weld that. You had the same issue with sizing, Paula? Yay! I'm glad that I am not the only one that's having that issue. It did it to you too? Awesome. Well, it's not awesome. I hate it for you guys, but I thought I was in that boat by myself. I honestly did. Okay, now I'm going to line this one, and I'm going to center that horizontally. And I forgot to add that one in when I did my distribute vertically, so make sure you distribute yours vertically. You want to select that when you select these to give you the right amount of space here and here as well. Okay, so we're going to pretend that I did. And I know that my measurement there is 4 by 6. Want to line horizontally there and weld. So now this is all one piece. Okay, we have our layout. We don't have our paws. We're just going to pretend we have our paws. No, we're not. We're going to go get something. We're going to get something. What can we get, guys? It needs something over there. Let's see. I don't like any of that. How about a bone? Let's go get a bone. Let's find a bone. It has 2 layers, maybe. Hopefully. I don't like it when it doesn't play fair. Okay, and I did discover something out too. I'm going to ungroup this. It may be a fluke, and it may be something that they've done, or I'm going to detach it, not ungroup it. Used to, we could change this to a cut. We can't do it anymore. It goes to print and cut. So all of our draws that we used to be able to change to a cut, we lost. We lost it. Yeah, a heart that would be good too, Jamie. Because I'm not going to be able to turn this one. I thought that maybe I could change that one to a cut and get that inner piece, but it's just not going to let me. You could always have it draw. Could have them draw something there. That would be cute. I haven't got that centered yet, so I don't know why I'm trying to center those. Let's get us a heart. Heart bone. There we go. Hey, there was one of those in there, though. right? I saw that. I wish it would give us multi-cut layers. There's one. I'll just grab that one. All right. So I want to ungroup that, and we just want the large one. Oh yeah, we could do it that way. Yeah, that would be cute, Pat. Just to foil that right there, foil those bones. I'm just going to align center horizontally, and I'm just going to group that and then duplicate it. There we go. So before I do those, I'm going to select this piece and my top one. I'm going to align center, and then I'm going to, I want these at 9.5. Align to the right. Ooh, that's not good. That's not what I want. Maybe I need to size it down some. There we go. That's a little close though. Okay. Just going to ungroup it. I'm going to live with it where it is. Ungroup. Because we can bring these back later. That'll give us a guide. There we go. And I'm going to weld those. Select it all, align, center it horizontally, and weld that. So now we have our layout. We're going to select everything. You're going to select your top layer, you're going to align, and you're going to center it horizontally. And then you're going to slice. And that's going to give you layer number 1 right there. Then what you're actually going to do is, because you can't do all of these and then make them smaller, they won't line up. If we had our inset or our offset, you could do an inset layer and then just duplicate it 3 times and it would all line up, and you're just going to slice them from that. But because you don't, what you're going to do is take all of these layers and you're going to duplicate them as you go before you weld, and make them a little bit smaller as you go down. So this 4x6, your next layer would be centered in there. It would be a 3.75 by a 5.75. So a 1/4 inch smaller maybe. And then you're going to do that same layout and align everything. You're going to align all of your rectangles. You're going to align all of your hearts. You're going to center them all up. And as you do these layouts, okay? So we're going to do another one. Oops, didn't want to delete it. Come back here. So that's how you do page number 1 if you're just doing 2 pages. Now if you're doing separate, not separate, if you're doing multiples, I can't get it to come back. My hearts came back, everything came back except my page. Anyway, since it's not going to give it back to me, we're going to go through this one more time. That's your single page layout with a solid behind it. We're just going to pretend. Let me see if I can duplicate. Let me just do another one and duplicate. Okay, more than one way to skin a cat. All right, there's my single page layout, and I put it over a solid sheet. When you're doing multiple layers, and that's why I forgot to duplicate all of this, arrange, send this to the front, you're going to be lining up all of your insets. Did I resize that? I didn't resize that, did I? Okay, and then you're going to duplicate, and you're going to, I don't want to turn. Is it me, or is that backwards? Something is, I don't know. I'm not used to my rotate. I don't remember the rotate being on the bottom. Unless it's, I get it. I rotated it so it's rotating with the image. That's messed up. That's messed up. Okay. So now my sizing handle is at the top. Now it's gone completely. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to show you guys how to do this. It doesn't want to play. Let me see if I can change the color. They're back now. Let's see. Let me find my sizing handle. Make sure I got the right one. But you're just going to stair step these down as you lay them out. You're going to make sure that everything, however many layers that you have to slice, you're going to have to create that many layers. And then you're going to align all of this shape. You're going to align all of this shape, align all of this shape, and you're going to have to group those. And then when you group those, that's when you're going to bring them in, and then you're going to weld. How I welded this layer, you're going to do that with each color layer. So whatever color that you're working with, whatever layer it is, you want to make sure all of that is that same color. You're going to have to unlock them. And you're not going to get 100% true layers this way if you use odd shapes like bones and things like that. Your basic shapes you can. Hearts are one of the hardest to get the exact shape when you're doing that. So you just want to make sure that you either have layers or that you're duplicating and creating each one of these. So for this set here, once I had all of them, I'm just going to do this. You're going to do this with each and every shape. Each and every shape for each layer that you're going to be slicing. And I lost my handles again. Maybe if I change the color, it'll come back. Okay. So we're just getting smaller with each layer. So I'm going to lock that one. I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to duplicate it. So now we have each layer. As we're laying this out, I'm just going to contour that and hide everything except the one we're working with. Let's just pretend we have all of our sizes made for each one of our shapes for every bit of our layout. Let me duplicate. I need to duplicate that one more time. I thought I got enough, but I didn't. And I'm just contouring these out so we have them. So now I have all of my shapes. I have this one, and this one. And I'm going to bring them to the front. So I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to align, center, and I'm going to group it. And it's not supposed to vanish like that and change the grouping order, but it did. Let's try that again. It's just not playing fair. So now I want to select all three of those and group. What is it doing? I selected the wrong one there. Okay, I got it. Let's try that again. Align, center, and group. What? What? Okay, Susan. Mine's not doing well at all either. You see, it just changed my grouping order. Again. Let's... I don't know. Stay, please. Yay. Okay, so now you've got all of those grouped, and so I don't have to do that again. I'm just going to duplicate it. I'm going to forget that one up there. I'm going to bring these down. Woo! I'm gonna try to do this a different way. I'm gonna send that to the back and then bring it forward. And I'm gonna arrange and move that to the front. And hopefully they'll stay, align, center, and group. Yay. All right, so now you've got to do this for each one of your pieces, for your square, for your puppy feet, for all of these. Then you're going to line everything up just like we did on that first one. And I'm only going to slice one here just so you guys can see how you would do that. We're going to pretend, align, center vertically, align. We're going to distribute horizontally. We're going to pretend that's exactly where I want it to cut on this sheet. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to ungroup and ungroup and ungroup, and then I'm going to weld my top layer of all of one color, and then I am going to weld that second layer all in one color, and then I am going to get my third layer and weld all in one color. And then you're going to start slicing them from the right, whichever your biggest layer is. This is my biggest layer, so it needs to be sliced from that next to the bottom layer. So I'm going to send that to the back. So let's say this is the one, and I'm going to slice it. And then that's going to give me that layer. I'm going to get rid of that and get rid of that, and I'm going to take my next layer and I'm going to slice. And then that's going to give me that layer. And then, of course, I'm going to get rid of that one. I think that was my only one. No. Then I'm going to take this one and slice. I'll change the color afterwards so that you guys can see. So then I have all of my layers. You can get rid of all of your trash because you're going to do it all at one time like we did the others, but you're going to line them up. So my smallest is going to be at the bottom. That would be that one. Arrange, send that to the back. Then my next layer, then my next white layer. And then this one would be all the way to the back. And you can see how it's starting to create that effect. Now that one is not going to match up because we did it differently. And it's not in the same place because we didn't have that extra layer. It's the same size as this one. Your group is not working today. I know it made it extremely difficult for me, and that's why I went ahead and laid one out in Escal for you guys yesterday and posted that one up. They're going to fix it, guys. They are. I know it's really frustrating right now with Design Space, but you can do this. Basically what we're learning tonight is the steps on how to do it. So you're going to get all the shapes that you want, get the layout that you want. You're not going to weld any of your shapes unless you're doing a single page layout. And that's like for a scrapbook page. If you're doing a frame layout where it has multi-layers like we've got here, 4 layers, then you're going to leave your back layer back there and you're going to line up all of your images like we did on that scrapbook layer. But before you weld anything, you're going to do your inner layers and get smaller. You're going to group all of those, make sure everything is grouped and laid out like you want it, and then you're going to weld all of your light colors together, and then you're going to start slicing from your page just like we did this one. And each one of them will be a different size because you stair step down, and so they will all line up just like this one did. I hope that that made sense. I knew that it was going to be tough with that Design Space acting up. But here is, let me group that again and size it. But you can see that that's all I did here. In Surecuts a Lot, it was a lot easier because all you have to do is the one layout and then you can do an inset layer. But you can do it in Design Space. It can be done. You're not going to get 4, 5, 6 layers out of it where they're exactly lined up, because you can see right here that these are not going to be a perfect sizing because we just don't have that tool yet. It's coming because we saw the sneak peek of it. I don't know if they messed up or if they meant to show us that offset button, but we saw it. We saw it. So we know it's coming. And then this will be, you could do one of these layouts right here in seconds because you will have your layout done just like this. And then once you have that offset button, you can just create 2 or 3 offsets and line them up, and you're done. Super easy, super simple. But it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work to do it in Design Space without that tool, but you can do it. So I hope that that answered the questions on how you do it. It's not easy, but you can do it. And for my Escal people, I'm going to pull it up and just show how quick and easy it is with that inset. If I can get it to open. There it goes. And you can see I've been working on some things in here. I've been playing. Let me change that to a 12 by 12 mat. There we go. So basically what you would do is come to your library, get your square, size it up, and then get your other squares and your rectangles. Whatever it is that you're going to put in there, you would get all of those. And then you're just going to lay them all out. I'm just going to grab some shapes and just kind of show you guys. And let's see. Let's do this down at the bottom. And we're just going to pretend that that is our layout. I'm going to select it all, drag it really big. And then we are going to, I'm coming up to path and I'm doing a union. And that's going to make all of that one layer. And then all you're going to do there is go to your appearance, add a shadow layer. I like to do rounded, but on this one it doesn't matter. Straight will be okay, or regular. Then you're just going to click inset and how many insets you want. And then you're just going to, and the size that you want. You can change the size of your inset how you want it to be, and you're going to say okay. And then you're just going to take those and they do group themselves. So you're going to ungroup them. So you've got your main layer, your first layer, and then you've got your bottom layer, and it stair steps down. And all you're going to do is align center of your mat, and then, oops, not resize it, align center of your mat and knock it out. Let me get rid of that so you can see it. Let me just copy this. And let's do a new page so you can see. Oops, don't want that. Nobody wants to go to the eye doctor, right? Doesn't want to give me just the one I want. There we go. No. Okay, there's one, and then I'm going to go and get my square. We're just going to duplicate it. So I've got all my square and one of my layers, and you're going to just do this with each layer, and then you can copy and paste and combine them. I'm going to arrange and send that one to the back. I'm going to select it all. I'm going to go up to Object, Align Centers, and then we're going to go to Effects, and we're going to knock out. And I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to leave my gap at 0 and say OK. And then I can get rid of the trash. And then there's one of my layers. And I'm going to do that with each one of my layers, and then they'll line up. Super easy in there. So that was the light gray layer that that's the gray layer I just did. Command C. Same thing, I'm just going to arrange it, select it all, align it up, and then knock it out. And basically that's it. I'm just hitting the effects tool for knockout and saying OK. And I'm going to change the color of that layer. Oops, wrong piece. Just so you guys can see. I'm not going to do all the layers. This is plenty just to show you guys. Just make it green. Ooh, that's bright. That's too bright. I can't see it. I know you guys can't see it. Oh, yeah. Let's change that white layer. That'll help too. And now you can see oops, if I can get it aligned right. You can see that you've got your knockout and it's stair-stepping its way down. So super easy, super simple in there. If you have that inset tool, or that, you can even do a just line up your shapes. You can just line up your shapes and then do a shadow layer and let it do an outside instead of doing an inset, if you want to do it that way, and then reverse them back. You just need to slice your largest layer from the top layer and your smallest layer from the bottom layer. Okay? So super simple and super easy when you have the tool to do it. It's a lot quicker. And I promise you I don't remember, and I do apologize who asked me to show how to do this. You can do it in Design Space. It's just going to take you some time. All right, does anybody have any other questions? I'm waiting. I can't see chat, guys, and I know that it's delayed here for me. If anybody has any questions on how to do that, please let me know. Once we do get that tool from Design Space, we will redo and revisit the how-to on this, because with that tool it is so simple and so easy. You can do it in minutes. Seriously, I did this layout in Shortcuts a lot with the right tools in about 10 minutes, maybe. And that was finding images and doing all of that stuff too. I went through the library on Escal. Am I still connected? Are we still live? You guys got quiet. All right, if nobody has any other questions, I am going to go and we're going to finish editing the videos, and I'm going to put those up for you guys for the 2 cards. And I will see you Friday, and we will do Shortcuts a lot. I think we're going to look at object on a path. I think is what we're going to take a look at this coming week. I'm just giving it a second to catch up here. All right. So if you guys have any questions, don't forget to ask in the groups, or come over to Patreon, ask me there. You can ask me in both places. And again, we will revisit this when we have the tools where we can do it. Like I said, with the images and what you have in Design Space, unless you get lucky and find those images that have 3 or 4 layers, you're going to be kind of limited to 2 layers unless you can find some shapes that will allow you to get close like this one. If you can get close with it, you can get by with it. So, but if you want them to be exact and all of that, you're going to have to do it outside and bring it in. All right. We will catch you guys on Friday. You have a good one. Thanks for watching. Thank you, moderators. Thank you to all my supporters. Greatly appreciate you guys.